Welcome to Halachot and Niddah. This will be part 12 of the class. Today we want to speak about separating on day number 30, which in Hebrew is called Ona Benonit, the average Ona. Before we start today's class, as we're going to start learning Halachot Niddah in depth, we're going to start picking up on certain words which I'm going to expect you to know. In order to make sure that the context of the law comes out clear, instead of me having to say, for example, the ona and then translating it and saying that is the time period when a woman is anticipating to see her period, I'm going to want you to know that word. So, Belin Neder Bezrat Hashem, whenever we're going to start now, Halachot Niddah, I just want to try to simplify it a little bit, because remember, when I say it in Hebrew and then I have to translate it into English, it can lose the context of the law, which I don't want to happen. So there I'm going to want you, just for today's class, know two vocabulary words. The first one is ona. Whenever we're going to say ona, which means period. So I went ahead and I elaborated on it a little bit more. Whenever you hear me say the word ona, just remember it means the time period where she's anticipating for her blood to come or for her cycle to come. Another word which is similar to ona is called veset. Veset means when she's also anticipating the period to come. So basically ona and veset are similar, just ona means period, veset means same thing about that period when she's anticipating the flow to come. So remember these two vocabulary words. Ona and veset means time period where she's anticipating her blood flow to start. Now that we know that, we're going to begin today's class. Today's class is a very important class. Now, we're going to start learning the halachot that even when your wife is pure, still there are times where you have to refrain from having relations from her. And today we're going to learn the first part of it. We've been saying this whole time that if a woman saw blood on during the day, next time around during the day, the husband has to stay away from her. He's not allowed to have relations with her, correct? When is that next time around? So we'll see, Rabotai, there are many days that have to be taken into consideration. Today we're going to go with part one of that day, which is called Ona Benonit, an average Ona. And let's see how it works. Chiyuv Prisha Samach Livestahu. Rabotai, pay close attention. Again, you see right over here? You see this word Samach Livesta? Same thing, Rabotai. I don't want to say close to the time when she's anticipating a period, meaning on the day when she's expecting her period to come. That's what it means. Same thing, Rabotai. Samach Levesta, close to the veset. So when I say close to the veset, you have to automatically go and remember this definition. Close to the time period where she's anticipating her period to come. Okay, Rabotai, I just want to make sure people are able to understand Halachot Niddah. Because remember, this is a one-way basically like a one-way street. I'm teaching you and I can't see if you're understanding it or not. So I want to make sure you guys understand it. When you learn Torah, you have to understand what you're learning. A lot of problems come out when people don't learn halachot the proper way, then they have many mistakes. They take upon themselves many stringencies, they make the wife's lives miserable. Not worth it, Rabotai. Learn it correctly the one time, the first time, know it, apply it. This way, you'll have a beautiful life. Comes Rav David Yosef and he says, Chiyuv Prisha Samach Levestahu. This obligation where a husband has to separate from his wife close to the veset, we're going to tell you that Ben Be'isha Sheyesh La Veset Kavua, whether we are dealing with a woman who has an established cycle, that is a whole new terminology, we never spoke about that, or whether we're dealing with a woman who does not have an established, a woman who does not have an established cycle. Right now we're learning two new terminologies that we never learned up to now. You have a woman who has a vesed kavua, an established cycle. And you have a woman who has vesed she'ena kavua, which is not an established cycle. Now, if you look right over here, he says, in the parentheses, Rav David Yosef Shlita says in the parentheses, Gidrei vesed kavu v'she'ena kavu yivoru lehalam b'tzivun tetzayin b'dini vestot. The laws of what does it mean, a established vesed, and what does it mean, an not established vesed. These halachot are going to be explained later on in chapter 16 in the laws of vestot, in the laws of cycles. Right now we're not going to define it. I'm not going to get into it because I want to keep to what he's saying. So Rav David Yosef Shlita says that when we say to a husband that he has to separate from his wife close to her vesed, it doesn't matter if this woman has an established cycle or this woman does not have an established cycle. Once it's samach levesed, once it's close to her vesed, he has to stay away from her. V'chol she'higia ha'ona she'asui lira'ot ba, and as long as the period came where she's supposed to see, as long as the ona came where she's supposed to see, chayav ba'ala lifrosh mimena. The husband is obligated to separate from his wife. So I want to just summarize it before I continue. This whole obligation, when we say a husband has to separate from his wife close to her vesed, that it doesn't make a difference to me if I'm dealing with a woman right now that has an established cycle, or if I'm dealing with a woman who does not have an established cycle. Whenever they're close to their vesed, we're going to tell the husband, you are obligated to stay away from her. Which means to say you're not allowed to be intimate with her, and at night you're not allowed to sleep, or even during the day you're not allowed to sleep on the same bed. Regarding kissing, hugging, touching, passing things, and things like that, eating from the same plate, being romantic, all these other halachot we will see be'ezrat Hashem. Continues Rav David Yosef Shlita, and he says, if I'm dealing right now with a woman who does not have an established cycle, Rabotai, here we go, learning new concepts. The husband needs to go ahead and separate from her an ona benonit. What's an ona benonit? That's called an average ona, which is usually 30 days. He says right over here. Dahainu b'yom hashloshim liri'ata ha'achrona. It's 30 days from the last time she saw. Now, Rabotai, before I'm going to continue reading Rav David Yosef Shlita, I want to go ahead and I want to show you something over here. Now, I know this might be hard to see. If you have to zoom in, please zoom in because it's very important to know. And remember what I told you before. When it comes to the time, like from sunrise to sunset or from sunset to sunrise, you must use the Jewish calendar, the Jewish time. When it comes to the dates, when a woman sees, you must use the Jewish calendar. I have in front of me two calendars. One is Av, the month of Av, which is August, and one is Elul, which is September. We're right now in Elul. Rabota, if you can see, I'm going to get up. I'm going to have to show it to you like this because it's going to be very hard. I just want you guys to understand. Before I go back over here, let me just get up for a second. I want to show you on the screen. If you see over here by the Av, right over here, Av. This woman, let's say if she saw during the day, this woman, let's say she saw during the day her period. You see over here, Rabotai? Pay close attention. 1 second, my table's a little bit wide, so let me just get on that 1 second. We see right over here you have Wednesday day and Tuesday night. Over here it says night is ona and day ona, right? Because remember, we go after the night. Our day starts from night. So on this day, on the 3rd of Av, a woman saw during the day. Rabotai, and the third of Av, a woman saw during the day. The third of Av has two separate English days in it. It has Tuesday night and it has Wednesday night. Okay, 1 second. Rav David Yosef Shita tells us that if I'm dealing with a woman who does not have an established cycle, 30 days from this day, she's going to have to go ahead and she's going to have to stay away from her husband. So how am I going to count it? Watch this. If this is the third of Av, I'm going to count with you, each one until I get to day number 30. And then I'm going to show you a method how you could remember very easy. When I'm counting 30 days from the day of, from the last time when she saw, you need to include the day that she also saw. You don't begin counting on day number 4. You don't do that. You start counting on day number 3. On the third of Av is going to be day number 1. Here we go. Day number 1, day number 2. Okay, by the way, before we do continue, you know something? This is hard. 1 second. Rabotai, just before we do continue, I want to show you, watch this. Day number 1, when a woman received her period, was during the day. Then day number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, she does her hefsek tahara. Then she waits 7 clean days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember this? And she goes to the mikvah on Monday night. Okay, just if you guys remember, that's the whole cycle. Whatever day that she does, and whatever day that she does her, whatever day that she does her hefsek tahar, that's the same night. After that day, she goes to the mikvah. We did this halachot in the previous class. I just want to show that's what he has over here, pink and gray. Now, so let's do the counting. I need 30 days. So here we go. The third of Av is going to be day number 1. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, right over here, Rabotai, 30, Benunit. You see right over here, it says Benunit, 30. Now, when I get to, which is what day? Rabotai, watch this. She saw on the 3rd of Av, but the next 30 days is going to be the 2nd of Elul. So how are you going to make this calculation if you really want to know the simple way? It's always 4 weeks plus 1 day. That's how you're going to make it. That's how you calculate it. 4 weeks plus 1 day. So now when we get to the 2nd day of Elul, Rabotai, pay close attention. Over here I have Wednesday night on Elul, and I have Thursday day. So when do I stay away from my wife? Very simple. Depends. When did I see it over here? If on the 3rd of August, right over here, if on the 3rd of Av, not August, Rabotai, Av. Keep it Av. Keep it always the Hebrew calendar. If on the 3rd of Av, I saw it during the day, meaning the woman saw it during the day, that means 30 days, including this day, which is going to be on the Elul the 2nd, you're going to stay only from her away on during the day. That means Thursday during the day, you're not allowed to be with her. But Wednesday night, you're allowed to be with her. And then after the Thursday Thursday night, you're allowed to be with her. So you see, this is very nice that they made this calendar. It's so beautiful, Rabotai. So one more time. If she saw over here during the day on the 3rd of Av, 30 days later, she's going to have to stay away on the 2nd of Elul. But when is that day? Because it comes out to be the Thursday, which is the day. Because on the 2nd of Elul, you have 2 English dates. 2 English days. You have Wednesday night and Thursday night. So we're going to tell you, Wednesday night, you're allowed to be with your wife. Thursday day, which is the 30th day, you're not allowed to be with your wife. Thursday night, you're allowed to be with your wife. This is why I need you guys to make sure that you follow the Hebrew calendar and nothing else. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Now that we saw that, now we could go ahead back and see what Rav David Yosef Shlita is going to say. Now it should be easier. Okay. All right. So we said like this one more time. If I'm dealing with a woman who does not have an established cycle, the husband needs to separate from her and the average owner. What's the average owner? Which means to say on the 30th day, from the last time she saw. Like I explained, you're going to include the day that she saw as day number 1. Then you're going to count 30 days. That day, Rabotai, he's going to have to stay away from her, like I explained on the calendar. So now he's going to go and he's going to explain what I just told you over there. If the last time that she saw was during the day, you need to separate from the wife on the 30th day for the whole duration of the day. And you're allowed to sleep with your wife you're allowed to sleep with your wife the night before the day. And also you're allowed to sleep with your wife the night after the day. Meaning, after she did the proper checking. And if the last thing she saw was really at night, no problem. You have to separate from your wife on the 30th day, the whole night. And he's allowed to go ahead and sleep with his wife the day before the night and the day after the night, as long as she did a proper bidika. Rabotai, let me just show you this also over here. Just let me show it to you. I would do it with my cursor, but I don't think you're not gonna be able to see it very well. Okay. So Rav David Yosef said like this, right? We said that this is day number 1, this is day number 30, because like we counted. If she saw the period on the 3rd of Av during the day, I'm going to tell you, she has to stay away from her husband on the 2nd of Elul during the day only. And she's allowed to, she and he is allowed to be together the night before the day and the night after the day, as long as she did the proper bidika. And the other case, what happens if the woman saw on the 3rd of Av, but when did she see it? She saw it at night, meaning she saw it Tuesday night. No problem, it's still day number 1. Count 30 days, but when you're going to get over here, since we go by the Jewish calendar, it's going to be ending up on the 2nd of Elul, but not on the day, it's going to be the night before, meaning, in the previous case, we said the husband has to stay away from his wife Thursday day, because that was the honor. Now we're saying, in this case, if the woman sees at night, if she sees Tuesday night over here, we're going to tell you, 30 days later, on Wednesday night, you cannot be with your wife. But the day before Wednesday night, you're allowed to sleep with your wife. And the day after Wednesday night, as long as she did the proper checking, you're allowed to sleep with your wife. Okay, Rabotai? Continues Rav David Yosef, and you have Ashkenazim. He's going to say right now, Ashkenazim, you have some certain Ashkenazim that are stringent. Okay, they want to be stringent, let them be stringent. V'yesh ma'achina Ashkenazim, and you have from our brothers, the Ashkenazim, shenohagim lefrosh be'ona benunit, that they have a custom to separate on the average owner, meaning on the 30th day, shtei onot shelmut, 2 complete onot, 2 complete periods. Kigon, for example, im ro'eh bayom, if the woman saw during the day, right, like we explained over here, let's say she saw on, right over here, right where it said number 1, she saw during the day. Poresh, look what he says. Poresh memene la'achar shloshim yom, gam belel ha'shloshim v'gam beyom ha'shloshim. Rabotai, listen to this. He's going to separate from his wife, Ashkenazim, that they're stringent, some of them are. He's going to separate from his wife. When you see right over here with my cursor where the yellow is, right over here, he's going to separate from her right over here on the 30th day, and also on the 30th night, right over here, Rabotai. That means Wednesday night he's not going to have relations with his wife, and Thursday day he's not going to have relations with his wife, because he's keeping 2 periods. No problem, he wants to do that, let him do it. Continues Rav David Yosef, and he says, "V'chen yesh me'achin she'ashkenazim." So too you have from our brothers the Ashkenazim, shenohagim lifrosh be'onot benunid, that they're accustomed to separating when it comes to the 30th day, to the average cycle on the 30th day. Milvad beyom hashloshim lirata hachrona. Besides, on the 30th day from the last time that she saw her, gam beyom hashloshim ve'echad lirata hachrona. Also on the 31st day. So this, Rabotai, is different than what we said before. Now he's telling you that besides the fact that they're going ahead and they're separating from their wives on the 30th day from the last time she saw her, they're also going to separate from their wives on the 31st day from the last time that she saw. Okay, Rabotai, if anybody has these chumrot, I wish you a lot of luck. Remember the rule. You don't make your wife's life hard. You don't do it. If your wife wants to be with you, you be with her, Rabotai. You don't deprive your wife, chas v'shalom, lo leinu, from the only thing that she could get is from you and nobody else. Rabotai, review. When a husband must separate from his wife near the time of her period, which as we defined was either you could call it a vesed or an honor. Basic rule. A husband must separate from his wife when the time comes that she might see blood. This is true whether she has a set cycle, which is called the vesed kavua, or not. The details of fixed versus non-fixed cycles are explained later in Siman 16. We're right now in chapter Bet. If the woman does not have a fixed cycle, her husband must separate from her at the ona benonit, which is called the average cycle time, which is the 30th day after her last period. When she saw the period, that's day number 1. Count on top of that 29 more days. That's why I told you it's 4 weeks plus 1 day. If her last period began during the day, they must separate the whole 30th day. But she's permitted the night before and the night after if she checks properly. If her last period began at night, they must separate the whole 30th night. But she's permitted the day before and the day after if she checks properly. Ashkenazi customs, stricter practices some keep. Some separate for 2 full onot, 2 full time periods. If her last period was in the day, they separate on both the night of the 30th and the day of the 30th. Others separate not only on the 30th day, but also on the 31st day after the last period. All right, we said we gave the 2 terminologies. On invested means time period when she's anticipating her flow. Rabotai, have a great day. Baruch